Hello there, and welcome to the Portal to Ascension show. This is simply the second show in the series, which started this August, and we're delighted to be with you live, and also some of you will be listening on the recording. So we thank Neil Gar, the founder of Portal to Ascension, for making this show possible. And I'm joined here today by my cohorts in spirit, Washela Sananda and Joan of Angels, for a show all about how we can ascend our timelines, meaning shift our realities to be in alignment with our highest destiny path, is one way of saying it. We're gonna find out a lot of different ways of talking about the same idea, that we are reality creators. We are able to focus our consciousness, our mind, our spirit, our thoughts. We're able to do the inner work, which will allow us to hop into higher and higher levels of experience and expression. And so let's get into it, shall we, ladies? And any other preamble thoughts around this topic that you all both want to share to get us started here?
Don't everyone speak at once. Well, I know part of our show is about personal power and, sending your timeline. And I love how, intricately those two topics are combined. If we're disempowered, we're not really in control of anything. So I'm looking forward to the conversations and hearing what everyone has to share, as well as the special music. So that's really all I have to say for starters.
Well, first of all, it's the first time just the three of us are all together live. So I happen to say that as we ascend our timeline, this is one of the things I've really visualized. Like, wouldn't it be fun if the three of us were together, sharing and raising our frequency, especially with you two Ascension Masters? So I think we're in for a great show today, and especially like, how do we personally shift our frequency?
Yeah, absolutely. And Washela mentioned our delightful musical artists, who I have known for a long time, ever since I was living in LA and producing events there and elsewhere. And so Truth Eye and Aradhana from Istar will be blessing us with some musical wonder a little bit later in the show to wrap it all up today. And that is a very happy thing. It's a very, very good thing.
It actually is, yes.
And
we agree.
It's nice to have the music to just kind of help us reset. And there's a lot going on in the world right now, quite honestly. And there's enough going on that I think everybody's probably being pushed in some way, or even triggered in some way, to where this type of gathering and this type of contemplation of the Most High and this kind of sharing of tools is probably super useful for people right now. So just everyone listening and participating, whether live or in the future, breathing into whatever's challenging you right now, whatever's working you right now, knowing that as we ask, we shall receive. So make your own intention right now for what you want to elicit from the field through us today, and what's going to help you the most in doing the transformational work, getting the peace, getting the healing, getting the reframe, whatever it is that you need. Why not take a moment and ask? And this is a good moment to do that. So breathing into all of the perfect outcomes that are going to happen from these transmissions that occur today with everyone here. So I'm grateful for that. And so this is the moment where we're just going to make maybe a couple of announcements and go over the agenda a little bit so people know what to expect in the show. And the announcements are that this is the second Portal to Ascension show. There will be more at ptashow.com. You can look up the schedule, and you can also register there either for free or by donation if you want to get notified and get the Zoom link so you can join us here on Zoom. And there'll be different producers and hosts each episode. Sometimes it'll be Neil and Alan, and sometimes it'll be Washela, sometimes it'll be Joan. And then hopefully Mariana will be back with us for her shows, and so on and so forth. And we're sending love and light to Mariana today, who's having some personal challenges that precluded her being able to join us. So we just send her so much love and light, knowing that all is well and everything is working out for her. And let's see. The agenda is we're going to have Washela up first, and then we're going to have Joan is going to share a little bit about the Ascension Conference, and then Washela will introduce me for my appearance. Then it looks like then we'll share some more details of exciting things going on. And Istar will come on, and then Joan will be happening to wrap us all up. And so that really settles it in. Any other comments from either of you two lovely ladies before we get started introducing Washela?
I think this is very exciting. All right. And one of the things about Washela, before you introduce her, is that she's already been working on the Alchemy of Ascension. So this process of ascending our timeline, we're going to be hearing from the mistress or the master of timeline ascension.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting. And she's got some cool things happening now, which she's going to tell us about as well to help people even more. So without further ado, Washela, unless you had any comment, I'll go ahead and introduce you.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Absolutely. So as Joan was saying, Washela is the founder of the Alchemy of Ascension podcast, which has been happening episodically in several iterations for the last 4 years. I think she's had 6 different shows, which have a number of really amazing, wonderful presenters to enjoy. And she'll tell you more about this year's topic that's coming up soon. She's also a galactic shaman in her own right, as well as an ascension teacher, and has several online programs that she helps people with so that they can make it more gracefully through this powerful time that we're all in. And her website is alchemyofascension.com and washelasananda.com, I believe, are the two websites.
It's not alchemyofascension.com.
Okay.
It's washelasananda.com.
Okay,
and then
sure.
the Alchemy of Ascension is /AOA6.
Okay, wonderful. So that
right now
we'll be putting those, we can put those links into the chat here, but also you'll be able to find them on her website. Perfect. So Washela, thank you so much for being here today. And let's get started with your transmission that you want to give us today.
Well, thank you so much, Shariah. And it is just so great to be here with Joan, Shariah, Neil, even got to see Alan for a moment, which was fun. So I do want to share about the Alchemy of Ascension, which is a huge part of my service work and my work in the world. That is a summit series that for this season, it's season 6. I have 33 speakers, and those speakers include, this time we've got Joan of Angels, we've got Shariah Dharma, and we've got Neil, all 3 on this season. So I have 33 speakers, and what it's about is exploring expanded states of consciousness. And expanded states of consciousness is something that I'm passionate about. And it's really, it's a soul's calling to do this work, and doing it during Mercury retrograde is not recommended, but with all of the computer issues and the back end snafus, it's still going forward. The season launches this Sunday, September 17th. So be sure to get in on that. And I'll have them put a link in the show notes, washelasananda.com /AOA6. And so today, what we're talking about is sending your timeline and reclaiming your power. And I really want to dig into the topic of what does that mean? What is authentic power? What does it mean to be in your authentic power? And we can talk a little bit about ascending your timeline as well. What I found is that the more personal power that someone has, the more we have the ability to raise our frequency. And when I say personal power, I'm talking about authentic power. And I'll make the distinction between authentic power. It's not power over others. It's not power of destruction, which we commonly think of when it comes to power. Authentic power is heart-centered, aligned, loving, compassionate power. Personal, authentic power is the very thing that raises our frequency. And when we raise our frequency, this is how we move up in timelines. When we move up in frequency, we are ascending to a higher timeline. And so I want to dig in a little more to what is authentic power, and how do we get authentic power? I was many years ago, I used to do in-person energy work, and I was working on someone who was working on her own authentic power. And what channeled through me in that session was a complete knowing of authentic power, what it felt like, what it expressed as in being. And it was such a gift to me to have that experience, because in giving that to her by being a conduit of the divine so that she could receive that, I got to understand it so much better and so much more clearly for myself. And it is the human condition to start out as survivalists. We want to survive, we want to live. And then as we kind of get our survival needs taken care of, we want to be happy, we want more freedoms. And as those things start to come into place, we start to get to contemplate, well, what is it that really makes us happy? And so authentic power is finding out who you are when you are behaving in a way that is truly yours. And what I mean by that is your truth, living and being and expressing your truth. And that's going to be different for every single person. And there are so many layers to our personal freedom and sovereignty. For instance, most of us are used to putting on a play with our personality, in that we are we're being the person that's going to make someone else happy. It starts with, as a child, we're doing things to make our parents happy. We then decide at school, we want to be liked. We want to have friends. So we create this personality that's likable, or that people will appreciate, or maybe it's doing things for the teacher, or whatever that is. It can come out in so many different ways. But then as adults, is this really who we are? We want to be of service oftentimes, but sometimes that service is the over serving that depletes us. And that is not authentic power. That's actually over giving in order to be liked, and hoping that people will like us because we did something or said something or we're charming, or, do something that makes them appreciate us. But that's not true. That's not freedom. That is doing and being because of requiring or requesting, wanting a result. And then when we don't get those results and we're behaving that way, then we get angry, we get resentful, and it's a destructive pattern. So part of authentic power is being able to deconstruct your life, your personality, why you do the things that you do, and figure out, am I doing that because that's truly me? That's truly what I want. That's in my heart. Or am I doing that because I'm expected to, or I've created an expectation of myself in the world that's inauthentic? And what I found in doing this for many years is that there are layers upon layers upon layers. So this isn't something that we get right the first time, or we get all of the first time. Most of us have so many layers of inauthentic personalities or inauthentic ways of being. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's the way we survived. And in order to become truly in your authentic power, you get to let those go, and you get to dig in and think about, what is it that I really want in my life? Who do I want to be? Who do I choose to be? Who is it? What is it to be me? Expressing authentically from my truth. For me, that required talking about having ET visitations from the time I was a small child. I didn't talk about it. I was left with the program, don't tell the adults, they won't understand. And I thought something terrible would happen to me if I talked about it. So part of me living into my authentic power was to come out and start talking about that. That was terrifying for me when I first started sharing about it. Now it's a huge part of my path, sharing about that and letting other people have a platform to share about their experiences and allowing people to feel they have community around that nobody's alone. No matter what they've experienced, it's okay to talk about it and to share about it and to be authentic about how did it make you feel and who did you become because of it, and how much of my life is an effect of those experiences and how much of that is authentic. It's a really deep contemplation. But as I've gotten into that and really embraced the truth of who I am in the world as an ambassador of the light, as a galactic shaman, as someone who's deeply connected to the divine through galactic beings, through the earth, and through the world of the unseen, as I become an alchemist a galactic alchemist, an alchemist of the divine, bringing the divine through my body, through and up through the earth, down through the stars, and become an embodiment, a channel, and allowed that energy to come through me, I get to know more of myself. And in doing that, that is how I've been able to move up in timelines. The things that I'm doing now in my life 5 to 10 years ago were only a dream. And now I am living that dream. And I didn't even ever I didn't see clearly what it would be. I just had a feeling. And sometimes knowing what you want to feel is enough to help you launch into that phase of yourself that is your truth and your true service to the divine. And so for me, it all starts with heart-centered, being centered in your heart. When we're in our hearts, when we're centered in our hearts, when we're centered in love, there's no room for control, manipulation, destruction, power over. It all goes away when we take the time to move into our hearts and be from there. The heart wants very different things than the head. And when we can drop that energy into the heart and create our lives from there, we become so much more authentic. And we start to allow the fire of that authentic power to burn in our hearts and to expand out. And then other people start to feel it and other people start to respond to it. And there's a ripple effect as your heart energy grows and expands and becomes more powerful. It's sending out waves. And then the people and the opportunities and the things that are aligned with that heart energy will naturally start to be magnetized to you. When we have a field of light around our bodies, around our hearts, our heart emits a frequency that is perceptible to others. They might not know that they're perceiving it, but they are. And I can tell you, when I did my first summit several years ago, I didn't know if anyone would say yes to me. I was unknown. Nobody knew who I was. Why would they say yes to be on a summit where they don't even know the host? But so many people told me, it was amazing. They said they heard when they got my email, they heard in their minds that, yes, this is something you should say yes to. One woman dreamed of me. I had met her in passing one time. And she said I was in maybe her dream or her meditation a couple days before I reached out to her. So she said yes. And the stories like that went on and on. That was my heart and my coming from my divine aligned truth, sending out this invitation to collaborate with me in creating something bigger, in the intention of creating a platform and a place where people can learn more and explore ascension and understand themselves more as a contribution to the world and to others. And people felt that. they received that, they resonated with that, and they reflected that back by saying yes to my project. And so I still every day am going through the layers, sorting through what's authentically right for me. In fact, today I had a lifestyle vision board that is on a whiteboard in my office, and I reread it today, and I erased a lot of stuff off of that vision board. And some of the things that were on it were, for instance, becoming a Hay House author, being on Oprah's Soul Sunday, Super Soul Sunday, things like that. And when I wrote those several years ago, I thought, okay, if I get to be a Hay House author or on Oprah's show, I will get my message out. Then people will receive that message, and then this collaboration will happen, and I'll get to work with more people and share with more people and further my work. So the intention was great, but I found out, like, in revisiting that, I don't need Hay House, I don't need Oprah to do my work. I just need to speak my truth and make invitations and allow my heart energy to go out and make those connections. And then one day, if that's right for me, great, but it's not necessary anymore. When I looked at that again today, I'm like, I don't need a lot of those things. I also had a beach house on there, and I will say I kept that on there because I still want a beach house. I love watching the sunrise and the sunset and the water. That makes my heart sing. That makes me feel so happy. And I think there's nothing wrong with prestige. It's not about prestige for me. It's about every day getting to look at the water and the sun and feeling the joy of that. Right now, I'm only 10 minutes from the beach. I can drive there, but it doesn't happen nearly as often as it would if I lived in a beach house. So authentically, yes, I do still want that. So sorting through even what you put out there to the universe, to ask, to bring your intention, to bring that to you. Look at the why, because if it's not aligned with you authentically, maybe I would have created that. Maybe I would have magnetized, we'll say, being a Hay House author, but maybe there would have been things that went along with that that I wouldn't have been ready for, or that would have set me on a different path or taken me off of my truest, most authentic path. So really be willing to look into your heart and check and find out, what is it that is truly, truly, authentically you. I know what I want, and knowing what you want to feel is the key. So I know what I want to feel. I want to feel love. I want to feel free. I want to feel like I'm in service and that my service is a contribution to the world. I want to feel safe, connected. I want to feel connected to the divine and connected to other people through friendships and partnerships and collaborations. I want to love deeply and feel deeply loved. And I can do that with every breath. I want to be in nature. I want to have free time. I want to spend time with my family and my children. And I want to live my best life. And so I invite you today to look at your life and explore, take a journal page or a blank piece of paper and just start writing down, who am I authentically? What is my authentic truth? And start to really get clear on, what are my ways of being? You can draw a line down the middle of the paper, and what are the ways of being that are authentically my truth? And what are my ways of being that I've done to either fit in or make someone like me or try and gain prestige or whatever those things are that are not authentically you? And when you have a clear vision of yourself as your authentic truth, this is where your power really is going to grow, and what you want to feel, know what you want to feel. And so when you have that column, this is authentically me, and this is who I am in the world, and this is what I want to feel, every action that you do, then you can weigh that against or with, does this feel aligned? Is this aligned to my authentic truth? And if you don't remember what exactly your authentic truth is, have it written down so you can go back and read it. Does this fit? Is this in harmony and balance, in alignment with my heart and my authentic truth and my authentic power and service in the world? And I've been doing this for the last several years, and I can tell you that my timeline has moved up and up and up. Things happen more in flow for me. Collaborations happen that were unexpected. Just amazing friendships. Beautiful people have entered into my life. Empowered conversations and wonderful, just so many wonderful things, including prosperity. So I want to leave you today with the invitation to just explore your authentic truth, allow it to be from your heart, allow that heart energy to go out to the world and allow the world to respond to that in love, and notice what happens and see how your timeline ascends in that experience. Thank you for joining me today. I'll end there.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Joan, feel free to, yeah, here comes Joan. You take off the spotlight. So we have a few minutes just to discuss what Shayla just presented there. And I thought it was gorgeous and just so clear and well done. And a good reminder to go back and scratch certain things off the list and to do a recheck-in with oneself about what's relevant now and who am I now. And what I also heard in your tone of voice and in your demeanor and in your expression is, kind of like no holds barred or whatever it is that feels authentic to you. There's no permission needed from the outside world for that to be okay. It's like, it's what's bubbling up inside of you authentically that you can feel the frequency of it and tune into and live forward.
Yeah. Can I just comment on that first before you go, Joan? I thank you, Shariah. And I also want to say there's this, there's also the converse of that. Like sometimes we do things because we want to be a bad boy, bad girl, or whatever, or we want to be a rebel or be seen as rebellious. I certainly did that as a teenager. And, those things too, I've looked at my rebellious nature and seen the way that it's authentically served me. And then other areas of life where I'm doing that, and I could let those go, right? So, and it works both ways. We can, we try and fit in in so many different ways. So, yeah, thank you.
That's cool.
Well, I really loved how you talked about personal power, because I've been talking about that a lot recently. Personal power, how to stand in your truth, how to stand grounded in that. And I just really appreciated your bringing that up. And the second thing I have to tell you, well, I have this video that I did that at some point Oprah put out a call where people who are Oprah wannabes could do a little 5-minute clip and send it in. And I came across it on my computer a few months ago and had to laugh and laugh, because I think those are the days where we thought we could get empowered from the outside and it would take aligning with a big figure, as opposed to this grassroots way that we've been just doing it by reaching people who love what we do and authentically interacting. So I had to laugh when you said you got rid of that. And I think I'm going to delete that video. It's a very funny video, or I'm going to play it again because, but yeah, we change as we grow. And that's the most beautiful thing. Our values do change. And that's what can change our timeline completely. We can really decide what we want in our future. So I thought, well, Shayla, I just love the way you presented it.
Thank you so much, Joan. Don't delete that video. I think you should post it on your YouTube channel.
I think I saw it recently. I'm going to have to see. It's very funny. I am very funny. I try. It's like really, but it was more that I did a lot of things to be on Oprah, but then I've completely forgotten about it. So what was important in the past is no longer important today. And you're right, everyone, go home and really start working on your vision board and upgrading it to today, because everything's different in 2022.
Oh, that's for sure. In fact, I have a big vision board I created in Photoshop, and I need to go back and revisit that one too and redo mine, and I will. So I was inspired. Thank you.
Well, isn't that interesting? So timelines, we're all thinking now in terms of our vision boards and how our vision boards can actually impact our actual outcome.
Yes. Right? Yeah, they really can. Like I literally saw on my vision board, like, oh, that was a different timeline that I wanted most of those things on there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is it. This is the jumping around. Speaking of announcements, Washella is going to be on the Quantum Timelines Jumping Conference in December, which we're doing. That's one little Portal to Ascension announcement here. And moving into our next segment, we rearranged the schedule a little. So I'm just going to make one other little tweak and invite Washella to now do her segment on your summit coming up for us, please.
Oh, okay. Well, I mentioned that already, the Alchemy of Ascension at the beginning of my talk, but I do want to share that you can register. Is there going to be like a place for a link in the show notes?
You can please do on the Zoom. Go ahead and put the link into the Zoom, and we'll ask Neil to put that into the Zoom show as well. I mean, into the YouTube show as well. Yeah. I
will do that in a minute. So exploring expanded states of consciousness. It's the Alchemy of Ascension, season 6, 33 speakers. We get into some really fun and deep topics. I have such a range of people, and it's not expanded states like you might be thinking of plant medicines. Not that that doesn't exist there, but there's very little about plant medicine. These are expanded states like reaching the divine and channeling and being a medical medium. And I've got someone doing sacred geometry as an expanded state of consciousness, and all of the so many different ways, flow states, opening our minds to other realms, other possibilities, expanded states of consciousness. And each person has their own way of bringing that forward and sharing that type of information. We've got, of course, we have to have galactic and ET contactees, artists, people who are psychics, contactees in various ways. So many different interesting characters are on this show. The way that the summit is working is I'm actually doing opening ceremony September 17th. Excuse me. And then it runs all the way through October 8th. And we'll do a fun live panel on October 8th that everyone will want to get in on, because lots of the speakers are going to be on that live panel. But each day, 1 or 2 new speakers will be released. Their shows it's email. So you have to register by email. And then each day, the series, the person of the day, the speaker of the day, 1 or 2 of them is sent out by email, and you will have 48 hours to watch each person's interview and then move on to the next. So that 48-hour slot gives you enough time to watch everybody. And then at the end, there might be a replay. So keep that in mind, but don't get behind by 33 speakers, because the replay period won't be long enough to see that many. And it's really going to be a great show. I'm so proud of it. So thank you for letting me share about it. Everybody get into the Alchemy of Ascension season 6, exploring expanded states of consciousness.
Can I comment that both Shariah and I are going to be on it? And I think I saw that Neil is going to be on it, and some of our favorite people that I've seen out in the world. So you have a powerhouse and a powerful group of transformational people, Shayla.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. And with that, Joan, speaking of other wonderful events, would you like to share a little bit about the upcoming Ascension Conference? And I'll go grab the screen share.
Oh, good. You can grab the screen share. That makes it much easier for me. Guys, we have, Portal to Ascension began years ago as an in-person event. In fact, I met Neil at his very first in-person Portal to Ascension conference way back in 2012 when I first came back to California. And it was a life-changing conference for me. But over the last couple of years, there haven't been any live conferences, of course. And so we are so excited to come back in person in San Diego in April 2023. We're going to be at the Marina's Village. Do you want me to show it?
I'm sorry, I had my windows all goofed up. You can show it if you prefer. That's fine.
Well, I sort of can't find it at this moment.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do take 2 as you talk here.
Okay.
Screen share. Yeah.
That's so weird. I did have it all ready to go.
No worries. Here it is.
Okay, there we go, guys. All right. So the conference itself is is going to be, as I said, it's a 3-day conference, the third weekend in April. We have, I think, I don't even know how many speakers we have. That's pretty interesting. But we have a good range, 3 days worth of some of your favorite speakers. By the way, Alan Steinfeld's going to be there. We have the Hertacks are going to be there. We have Carolyn Corey. She will be speaking on her film. We have Linda Moulton Howe is up there. We have Barbara Lamb. Many of you know that. We have Joan of Angels. Most important, we have Stargate is going to be there. They're going to be doing, and when I show you, I'll show you the Stargate. I'm actually in their office right now. And, I don't know if you can see behind me, but very powerful. We have Geraldine. We have, as we go down there, we have Jenna Layden is going to be coming there, Shariah, Lori Spagna, Sheila Seppi from the Wish Alliance, and one of my favorite musicians, Larissa Stowe, is going to be there, Deborah Giusti, Michelle. So these are all faces, and Tangela from Soul Search, and there's Neil, very happily. So we are very excited about the conference. We've aligned with several hotels. You can find it over there. And guys, if you are a vendor, we have room for about 15 vendors. We are very carefully choosing our vendors because we want the best of the best. So if our conference appeals to you, we have quite a lively tribe. Reach out, click that vendor, and send up the vendor application. It'll come to Shariah and I, and we will reach out and kind of vet you and then bring you in, and we'd love to show you stuff. So guys, it will be a powerful conference, 3 days, 3 nights, and then we will have a in-depth webinars on the next day after conference events. Stargate, I think, is going to be one of them, doing the after conference event. So sign up now. In fact, we have early bird special, and be an early bird. I want to tell Neil that all of you guys were so excited that you got your passes and you signed up to be there with us. Okay, there it is, Adam Apollo, the day out for the post-conference Stargate experience, and that's pretty reasonable to see all of them. And then the super early bird pass, $247. So I think you should get it while you can, but also because we have a community. Portal to Ascension is not just online webinars or events. It is a community where we actually get to know each other and really get to love each other and help support our growth. So please do join us April 21st through 23rd. All right, and yes, disclosure on all levels, and down in San Diego, one of our favorite spots. So, and I just want to mention our sponsors. Yes, thank you for showing it. The Galactic Alliance. We have Jenna Layden and Star Family Wisdom. And I know we have that third sponsor. And here's the schedule. So you'll be meeting the vendors, you'll be meeting the people, and you're going to see all your favorite friends. So thank you. Thank you for showing that, Shariah. And you're going to be there. I'm going to hopefully I get to meet you before then.
Fabulous. I love it. Thank you so much, Joan. And yes, go get your tickets for the Ascension Conference. It's going to be a
right now.
And so, Washela, now if you, oddly, I'm just inviting you to introduce me for my little segment.
Yes, just need to unmute. Okay. Yes. So with no further ado, we have the wonderful Shariah Dharma. Shariah is, I just have to say, such a delightful person to be around. I have the good fortune of living in the same town with Shariah, so we do get to see each other from, regularly, and we have a lot of fun. But Shariah is a lover of humanity. She is here for the ascension, just like so many of us are right now. And she does amazing things in the world. You know, you love animals and you're an earth lover as well. And I just have to say, a beautiful spirit and a wonderful person to be with. So go ahead and take it away, Shariah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I like to say I do my best to show up and shine, on top of a lifetime of doing my own personal work, just like Washela was talking about earlier, that somehow the pressure from without, the pressure from the world, pulses some of us to go ahead and cultivate that diamond and just keep striving towards more and more authenticity, more and more self-love, more and more compassion, more and more desire to show up in ways that are supportive to the whole. And I know that people listening and people in this community have that probably in common to some degree or another, that we're on the path. We're seekers, we're finders, and we do our best every day. And really, that's all any of us can ask to be and to do, is to do our best every day and to be a part of positive, powerful change on earth. One of the ways, and I would say the way that I find and feel is the most blessed and the most important and the most powerful for me in my journey, is to follow the teachings of the ancient scriptures, which all basically say the same thing, which is sit down and go within. So whichever flavor of spirituality, direct downloads, Buddhism, esoteric Christianity, the Vedas, any other spiritual path, they're all going to tell you in common at some point, these teachings, these ancient teachings are going to say, be still and find that queendom of heaven within yourself, because that's where it is. And as we find our way to practicing that and doing it, and not only hearing it, it's like we can hear it and then we can think about doing it and we can comprehend why we would do it, all of which are important. But then we need to actually do and engage in that practice. And the other thing that the teachings have in common is that practice involves stilling the mind. It involves the process of realizing we are not the mind, we are not our thoughts, we're not our feelings, we're not our physical embodiment. And what we come to discover through a process over years of time, sometimes in an instant, sometimes after much practice, lo and behold, we realize, oh my gosh, I am not this personality. I am not this ego. I am not my body. I'm not my mind. I'm not my feelings. What am I? Who am I? Well, this is the path of God realization that all the ancient teachings talk to us about, that the seers and rishis and mystics can only point to, because it's an inside job. We could say that we descended as a spark of spirit, a drop in the ocean. What is a drop? If the ocean is made up of drops of seawater, what is the drop? Well, it's also the ocean, right? And that's the big mystery. A lot of times on the path, we get confused and think, well, is my personality the ocean? No, all of these constructs of soul, having had an incarnational experience embodied on various planets and various timelines, that's like the clothing that we put on top of that drop of the ocean, which is at one with everyone and everything, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, pure source energy. Really something that can't be named, the great Om, the great mystery, Mother, Father, God, the original prime source. This is our true identity, our Satnam. And yet, as we're progressing on the path, we've dropped into duality. So we don't think that we are that. And in fact, in one sense, we are not, because we are identified as and operating as an individuated, independent soul, personality, being, body, ego complex, all of which is fine. There's nothing wrong with any of that. It's great. That's what we did. We decided to do that, to come here and have experience. After a certain number of turns on the wheel, turns out, we start longing for more of permanent joy, bliss, peace. And we start realizing that our experiences in the world create a lot of waves and a lot of ripples, which compound on each other, sometimes creating tsunamis of experience, which are sometimes uncomfortable or undesirable or downright scary or traumatic, or sometimes absolutely wonderful. Whether it's a wonderful experience or a traumatic experience, what's the common denominator with these things in the world? They're all going to change. None of them are permanent. We are not going to find lasting happiness through the manifestations. We're also not going to find lasting suffering through the manifestations, but the entire experience can feel like suffering for some of us at some times in various stages of our lives, until we learn how to stop and be still and take off all of the overlays through contemplation and awareness and seeking that source within ourselves. And there are multiple different methods for how to do that. So you pick your flavor. You're going to go with the Vipassana. You're going to go with the Vedantists and the Advaitists and the non-dualists. You're going to just tune in and do your own thing and sit and be still, like Jesus sat and be still for 40 days in the desert to realize what he was not and to become at one again with the Mother, Father, God within in his awareness. Pick your flavor. Whether you're going for full God realization or you just want more peace, starting to notice what our monkey mind does and how it does it and what it is and what we are and what we are not, that in itself can lead to more peace. It also leads to a shift in our perception. And so that stillness practice and that witnessing of the breath, witnessing of the mind, noticing how it just comes and goes and flows, all of these different types of practices, when coupled with other practices such as forgiveness and with the comprehension, the knowledge and gnosis and the comprehension of understanding the mechanisms of how life actually works, the mechanics of creation, which are that which goes out comes back to us. And that's what Wishella was indicating earlier about where we think, where we put our mind, where we put our thoughts. Those are creative. Those are creative attributes that we've been given by that prime source creator as individuated beings. We still have those attributes of imagining, feeling, thinking, which lead to experience. And sometimes we do those things unconsciously or from a lower mind or from some kind of ego distortion, which wasn't really what we really wanted, but we thought we wanted it. Again, like Michelle was saying earlier, maybe we were coming from pride or we were coming from overindulgence or we were coming from what we thought we wanted, but that wasn't really what we truly authentically wanted. When we create from a place of our attachments or our ego personality, those results are not going to be as satisfying and as wonderful in our experience of the earthly plane. So we learned how to forgive ourselves. We give up the old for the new. We self-reflect to self-correct. We learn how to be more equanimous, more kind, more loving. We learn how to let go of things like jealousy and to understand that when we practice things that are not aligned with that simple presence of love that's one with everything, then we end up suffering. It also creates ripples of suffering around us. So we learn how to go within to reflect upon ourselves. And all of these things, this self-reflection to self-correct, whether it's we're correcting a bad habit or we're simply shifting to what's more authentic for us, that continual process helps us be more and more in alignment with that source energy within us, which is one, and we are all one in that. But we've dove into creation, into carbon, the carbon molecule, and then the pressure of life itself presses on us to create this diamond that is our true authentic self embodied. And this is the process of spiritual growth in a nutshell. And so I celebrate each and every one of us for doing whatever it is that we can do and desire to do, and whatever it is we hear, see, know, feel, encounter, what books fall off the shelves, who we meet randomly, that helps take us to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. Because the great seers, the great masters, the great teachings of any day or age can point us to the water, but they can't make us drink. That's up to us. But believe me, when we drink, we will be satisfied. And this is the root core, to me, of personal empowerment in ascending our timelines. So thank you very much for listening. I think I feel complete with that now. Thank you so very much for allowing me to give that transmission today.
That was so well done, Shariah. I wanted to say something when you were being introduced, and I didn't hop on fast enough, but your sense of calm, your sense of knowingness, your sense of balance, and you're like a diamond as you go about your work. You have a sense of perfection in all you do, and it resonates. And I feel like this presentation kind of anchored that in even more. Like you gave your basis for your sense of calm and how you navigate. And I love that.
Thank you, Joan. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I really love how you presenced that we're so, we're in these bodies, but we are not these bodies. And it's when we do the meditation, the breath work, and do the work to touch the source and the divine that we find our true selves. And, that is really the most important thing that we can do in our ascension process, is to find whatever way it is to deepen and find that source within. And I loved how you shared that. Thank you so much, Shariah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The encouragement is just keep following your guidance and your intuition and your true inclinations. And they may surprise you. They may be very different than what you thought your true inclinations were going to be. And let it be okay that there are cycles. We're in a massive period of change on the planet. And so if you're being guided to something completely different than you've ever imagined right now, I say, follow those instincts, those true authentic feelings from within, because there's something afoot, and we all have the opportunity to leverage the power of this time for further development and transformation and peace.
When I was at the IANS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies, I learned that whenever people have these near-death experiences, they all go up to some heavenly realm, have a connection, and they come back with telepathic skills and clairvoyant skills and a sense of their whole path and personal power. And I have a feeling if we can all have those experiences, and you're sharing a way to have that, but to know who we are is really important.
Absolutely. And literally doing the practice. I can't stress enough how
actually
do the things we know we're supposed to do. Yes, we must do them also. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Anything else on that topic before we move on? We're good.
Well done.
Thank you. And so, Joan, now, do you have something that you would like to promote or share about what you're doing in the world for everyone?
Me?
Yes.
I thought I was supposed to give a presentation first.
Oh, well, it's just on the schedule that we each get a chance to share something, but you can wait until later if you prefer. That's fine too.
Yeah, I thought I'd kind of wrap it in.
Okay, that's fine. You'll just roll it all in at that point. And so for my part, I am preparing to do a forgiveness course, and you can actually access that forgiveness course through Washela's website about the podcast. So I would point everybody over there to Washela's podcast, The Alchemy of Ascension at washelasananda.com, in order to find out what I'm offering this fall, which is a deeper experience of comprehending how we really what I was talking about, basically the deepest part of understanding, the comprehension that is needed in order to be grounded in why we're doing this healing work, this forgiveness work, and how the mechanism actually supports us in clearing what we call karma or samskaric residues, so that we no longer have to be tripped up by repeating negative patterns. So that is what I am going to be offering at this point in time. So feel free to join us in that adventure, and you'll be able to see that on Shayla's website. And in terms of people who are on the Zoom, Joan is saying we can't see the links. I have already set the setting correctly, so I don't know why.
There's two places that, there is two places where you set the setting.
Okay, can I just make you host and you'll do
Yes,
it?
make me host. I love being host. That's my timeline.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so let me just see what's next. I think we have Istar coming up.
Good.
Are you guys, let me just see if they're here. Let me just go ahead and text. Any other announcements to make while I'm texting those guys?
Well, I don't have it up to show, but we have a great event coming up, the Ultimate Star Beings Conference. Neil and I are so excited about it. We have 55 speakers, and it's a 5-day conference on the ultimate star beings. So very, very excited on that to tell everyone about that particular event. And when I get to my share, I'm going to tell everyone, you might as well look at Way Shayla's event, because what I am promoting this year is my intuition training programs, which is part of what I'm going to talk about today on how to really up your timeline and up your personal power by actually hearing that voice within and acting upon it without everyone else telling you what to do. So it's also going to be on Way Shayla's timeline. Okay, we're talking about merging timelines, my friends. Look at it.
We are merging timelines.
Right,
for
just
sure.
say ditto.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
All right.
Fabulous. Well, I want to introduce now, if everyone's ready. Let's see. Oh, can you guys turn your video on? There we are. Wonderful. Welcome to the show, Truthai and Aradhana. So grateful that you're here and to see you all and to reconvene and reconverge on this particular timeline.
Indeed.
Yes, so good to see you.
Yes, thank you so much. We've been trying, our Zoom updated when we joined, and
gosh.
we had to figure out all these new settings. So thank you so much.
Perfect. And so Istar, Truthai and Aradhana from North Carolina I have had the pleasure of knowing these two ever since they were part of, my gosh, the name is escaping me.
Luminaries.
The Luminaries, of course, in Los Angeles, back when we were all playing around and doing events there a decade ago or so at this point, almost. It seems like a whole other timeline, a whole other reality. So you can see here, they've got a new album out at istarvision.com. And we're going to get to hear, maybe, I don't know if we're going to hear anything from the new album. Tell us what's up, what's going on.
Yeah. So, well, busy times, head spinning times for us all, I think. And gosh, the just transmission of the practice and coming back to that eye of the storm inside the observer mind. Thank you so much for that. Musically, we are already working on yet another album because the new album that is being promoted as the new album already is in the rearview mirror, and we're like, oh man, it doesn't feel as new anymore. So we got a song or two off of that album that came out more recently, and we have a new song that I'm not sure we played it online before. We played it a few times this year on tour, but we haven't played it, I think, in a setting like this. So.
Beautiful. Now, awesome. I can't help but ask, well, two things that I have on my mind. One is, are you guys still doing your chocolate business, Silver Moon Chocolates?
We are live from the chocolate factory.
Right, yeah, we're here right now.
Yep.
Amazing. So is that what it is? silvermoonchocolates.com?
Yes, singular.
No S. Yeah, silvermoonchocolate.com.
Yes, the chocolate itself. Yes, chocolate. And yeah, so these guys have been at it ever since we were all part of the raw chocolate movement. I mean, the raw food movement, which somehow got confused with the raw chocolate movement back in the day. We all became chocoholics, and many businesses got birthed from that, including your wonderful business. So that's great. I'm glad that we can point people to that. And my second question is how, if at all, do the songs that you're going to be presenting today relate to the topic that we've been discussing today?
Oh man, well, our songs are really reflections of our own spiritual process, of our own transformation over time, our own evolution, our own growth. And we process a lot of what's happening in the world and how we stay centered and how we, are experiencing the awakening. So really every song that we have in a catalog of, many, many dozens of songs now, in some way, each one of those songs is really reflecting, just how we continue keeping on to embody this divine being that we all know we are, and yet we're caught up in so much. The samsara thing is like so sticky. It's like a web.
There's a good song for you, Sticky Samsara.
Yeah. So we were going to kick off with a song that is called Introduction, because we know some people probably haven't seen us or heard our music before. So just a little quick song that is called Introduction to let you know where we're coming from and introduce each of us. This is truth I manifest. I got a dream that every land is blessed. Word is breath, every step a chance to rise above the stress. Just today, woke up with a lot to say. Music's wave, take us far beyond the place where soaring eagles play. People say, I'm a page for the word, a dangerous bird, known to take time out of straight lines, laid with the curves. I choose to walk a true path. I never stayed with the herd. I saw it running for a cliff. The sound of thunder on the verge of bursting over it. I feel the earth thirsting for a polar shift, trusting how the ancients knew the placement of the solar disk. At summer solstice, hold this letter up to the ecliptic and read between the rhymes, though at times it may seem cryptic. The language of the stars reads like braille to sighted mystics, unrestricted. Find your greatest gifts and be uplifted by the swiftness of the sanctity. No resistance, no calamity. Ecstatic family, see the day and speak candidly.
Under the moon, I catch a tone, let it bloom, petals open wide. In a glow, showing proof, so you know why you satisfied. Twisted thoughts that contract, something hard and relaxed, standing gold in these bones, sterling strokes of these toes, rooted in stone, bathing in tones, casting prayers to guide me home. The silverish shine like the water on skin, caressing and cleansing my temple within. Reaches my core, I've been blessed to endure, and I am not afraid no more. I am woman, I am mother, I am weaver, I am daughter, I am everything and nothing. I am velvet, I am stunning, I am flashing, I am running. Next level, are you coming?
We are not afraid no more.
No,
We are not afraid no more.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm getting tears and chills, guys. Like,
yay, it's working.
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you.
Oh. So this, that just is a little wink of perspectives that have supported us along the way. And this next song is called "Isn't That Something?" And this is a song, both Introduction and "Isn't That Something" are off of our album Cycles. And you can find actually both of those songs on Spotify, and I believe even on YouTube. Both those songs one has a lyric video and the other has a music video. So this song, "Isn't That Something?" Love to invite y'all to come check out this music video. It's pretty fun to shoot up here in the mountains of North Carolina in outside Asheville.
It stars our daughter, who was 7 at the time?
Little star seed.
Ignorance ruled while truth was sleeping. Isn't that something? Wide awake now, got people stepping. Isn't that something? All around us we find the reason. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Gift of speech never leave my tongue as long as I can hear the drum far up in the distance. Rolling thunder steady, here it comes. Tomorrow's flood is hidden in the currents as the river runs. Fill my raps swiftly, hold my breath, prepare to take the plunge. Beneath the surface there's a stillness till it burns my lungs. I re-emerge into a downpour that drowns the sun. Something tells me that the deluge has just begun. Steady my legs, fight the urge to run. If it run. Deep reflections come when I sit with a page, when it's just me, myself, and the ancient of days. Mulling over maps and mazes between stars and the grave. We all gotta make a choice, mind free or enslaved. I'm just one little string upon this cosmic instrument. The player strumming me knows a tune that's infinite. I'm just trusting we strike a chord with other strings in resonance. Arise to harmonize, let the sound set a precedent. Message where you're president, message where you're boss, message where you're preacher man. I hope it don't get lost. They can know the price of all the rhetoric they floss, but when it comes to writing checks, their mouths don't pucker up the cost. A whole system founded on the fear of looking soft. Cannonballs and bayonets, Santa Claus and cigarettes, landlords and inflated rents. No wonder everyone's depressed. I'm sure we can coalesce. Till then I will know my breath. Ignorance rule about truth was sleeping. Isn't that something? Wide awake now, got people stepping. Isn't that something? All around us we find the reason. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Ignorance rule about truth was sleeping. Isn't that something? Wide awake now, got people stepping. Isn't that something? All around us we find the reason. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Be a witness, be patient, be warm, embrace, be ancient. Strike the pavement, let the waves spread steady complacence. You're gonna take it, the lines may alright. Open, go to windows, close up the doors wide open. Listen to the sound of the wind she's spoken. And you hear the whistle like sparks from the lamplight through the air. Spread your seeds, time to prepare for the next crowd. Just stop a raindrop, buckshot. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Don't stop. Shining like an open sun.
We don't stop. All right, here comes some numerology. 1 is for the sun, 2 is for the earth goddess, 3 is for the moon who keeps an eye reflecting progress, 4 squares the people of the light who make a stand, 5 empowers everything, so rise and take command, 6 equals scales are finely balanced, 7 seals the God within, surrender to the silence, 8 ties the endless knot that builds and then destroys, 9 is when we're born again, so dance and make noise. Ignorance rule about truth was sleeping. Isn't that something? Wide awake now, got people stepping. Isn't that something? All around us we find the reason. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Ignorance rule about truth was sleeping. Isn't that something? Wide awake now, got people stepping. Isn't that something? All around us we find the reason. Isn't that something? Isn't that
Woo.
something?
Oh yes. You're reminding me why I became a producer all these years ago, to be able to put people like you guys in front of others.
Well, we'd love to get to the West Coast again, so
Yeah.
keep us in mind.
I'm in Florida now, man.
So we got one more song if there's time for it.
Yes, please.
Wonderful. What's this song?
What is this song called? Bullseye. It's brand new. We've really only played it a few times, but this is, our style, we call it folk hop, because I'm the singer-songwriter of 20 years, and he's the hip-hop spoken word guy, and we fused our styles together all these years ago and have come up with some
We're coming up on our 16th anniversary in like 3 weeks, Shariah.
Woo!
All right, this song is called Bullseye.
Take your time, take your fire to the fire in the deep dark down. Ignite the magic of self-revelation. It's an invitation to imagination, to higher elevation. Yeah, where did we go? Where did we sink to that we must now rise? Have I been drowning? Have I been blind? Have I been buried? Stones unrefined. Yeah, reach for the top, fingertips brush the sky. Stretch to the stars, but don't poke that bullseye. Though the earth may shake when the bull starts to charge, stop him in his tracks with that song in your heart. Take your love, take desire to the mountains, to the winds above. Release your self-limitation, claim true liberation. Forgiveness is key to a holiest elation. Yeah, reach for the top, fingertips touch the sky. Stretch to the stars, but don't poke that bullseye. Though the earth may shake when the bull starts to charge, stop him in his tracks with that song in your heart.
I live in a bullseye, but wander earth as if I'm aimless, anxious, trying to find my way back to the matrix. I'll take my higher consciousness and tie it in the basement, pretend I'm not awake and that I don't know life is sacred. Then take my place among the ranks of city street walkers, pretty sheep slaughtered to feed the creatures in the harbor. And we're happy at the feast before we're led down to the altar. They stuff us full of lesser appetites and tainted water, give us cigarettes and alcohol, addictions to affliction, insisting to every symptom a patented prescription, stripping us of innate abilities to heal through nutrition and proper breath control, willpower and self-discipline. Then we believe ourselves to be victims of unjust circumstance, and powerless our dance becomes a waltz of shuffled steps, imprisoned by religion's bold illusions of divinity and their foolish, feeble, uninspired mentalities with little semblance to reality, conditioned to systems, living within a perpetual state of half-night. We don't understand the darkness, no, can't accept the light, no, no. Even on brightest days, we blinded by hazy visions, lulled by lazy rhythms, so we can't escape division. While the light is one, deluded eyes perceive only the prism and strive to see the hues that reinforce their jaded views, and selfish superstitions pave their path with bricks of cowardly decisions. So are you sticking to your mission, or scalping off your seats, trying to profit on the moment when the lemmings start to leap? Oh, what the effing bleep, while AI's wet dream electrocuted sheep, and children count TikTok videos just to fall asleep. So when you pause to think about which wolf to feed, or how to swim in rushing sewers of confusion with numbed out nerves and skin, remember there's a nascent drip of fresh perspective prized for those who hold their ground when that old bull gets wild-eyed. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey bull, hey bull. Hey now, hey now, for the top, fingertips brush the sky. Stretch to the stars, but don't poke that bullseye. Though the earth may shake when the bull starts to charge, stop him in his tracks with that song in your heart. Reach for the top, fingertips brush the sky. Stretch to the stars, but don't poke that bullseye. Though the earth may shake when the bull starts to charge, stop him in his tracks with that song in your heart.
Wow.
Thank you
Very
so much.
profound. Heart moving, heart ascending.
Absolutely, absolutely gorgeous.
And the love between you two is very powerful to feel it.
Aw.
You know, it just comes through. I think you could just smile at us and my heart would sing.
Aw.
That's good. The music keeps us together, brings
For
us
sure.
together.
It's
Well, you
our,
have a purpose together. And that is so important to all of us. Like that's what keeps it going.
well, it's been such a pleasure to get to share some songs with you all, and you know, we hear them fresh every time we play them, and so, you know, to listen again and hear these songs and really the high vibration that they come from, and you know, I just give thanks to Spirit, to the Creator, for creating through me and through us and through all the artists and creators. It's just that's, to me, that's my spiritual path, is like listening and allowing for the art and the channeling to come through. So
Absolutely. Well, Shayla, do you have anything to
Thank
share
you.
about that experience?
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you both so much. I can feel just your connection and your creativity together. Congrats on your 16th wedding anniversary. That's so exciting. And I love what you're doing and sharing. So thank you so much. Spirit really comes through both of you, and it's well done. So thank you so much.
thank you all so much for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. The authenticity, again, we were talking about authenticity as part of empowerment. So this is your authentic expression, and we feel your love, and we feel your tracking of the times and the energy of the times and what people are going through. So this is truly medicine for the day. And so keep going, keep going, keep going. Never give up. And that's for a message for all of us. One of my early teachers said, never give up on yourself, never give up on ourselves. Like, everybody, keep going, keep going. We got this through the heart, as everyone has so eloquently said here today.
Thank you all. Yeah. The Energizer Bunny.
That's right. Chills, body chills. So yeah, so their website, istarvision.com and silvermoonchocolate.com. Please do support these guys by buying their album, getting some wonderful chocolate for yourself or maybe for gifts. I know they get a run on it for Christmas gifts, so get in the queue early over there for that.
She's the best, this one, in the chocolate ways.
For sure, for sure. Thank you both so much, and blessings to you and your family, and hopefully we'll see you.
Thanks so much. Much love and many blessings right back.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sweet. That was lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Absolutely. We're very blessed, are we not? I did a lot of music shows in my time, and it really is reminding me of the passion that I felt for doing music festivals to bring everyone together, and, you know, just festivals and events in general to bring us together to heal and reflect and all that stuff. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So next up, our final appearance for the afternoon is going to be Ms. Joan of Angels. And Joan works closely with Neil and Portal to Ascension, and has so many skills and talents in her own right as a beautiful conscious artist. Like, her art is her channel, really. And she's also a spiritual teacher and does sessions with people and has been at this for a very long time. And so please do add more about yourself and what you're offering as you go forth into this session. And Washayla, did you want to add anything to this introduction of Joan?
Yeah, well, Joan is just such a beautiful, bright spirit, wealth of information and an angelic channel of light. And what you bring through is always profound and fun too. You bring that fun and joy and lightheartedness that I so appreciate about what you share, Joan. So I love everything you do. Thank you.
I appreciate that. You made me laugh. So I have this very dear friend, Kay, who is a psychic. And the first time I sat down, we traded readings. She said, Joan, have you ever considered being a comedian? And ever since then, I get that I do lighten up a room and I can't help myself. It's like, I got to find the cute funny in everything. So thank you guys. I love you guys. I am going to tell you a little bit about me, guys, a little bit today. So I am Joan of Angels. And I did not name myself Joan of Angels. And I want to point out that all the other women on here today have names that they too were either given or taken. So these aren't actually our original names. So guys, I am Joan of Angels. And in 2013, I was probably in one of the worst periods of my life. I was really on my hands and knees praying for salvation. And I had written books about miracles. I had been a chiropractor for many years, helping people align their body, mind, and spirit to do their work. And I think it's kind of funny because I still help people align their body, mind, and spirit to do your mission. And so I was in one of the worst periods of my life. And I met this woman who was reading my book on the Miracle Makers Club. And she looked at me and she said, well, you're not the author of this book. I want to meet the author of the book. And I was, as I said, not doing so well. And I was devastated when she said that to me, just devastated. And I realized that I was on the wrong path. I was just not doing what I had just been doing, and it's very easy to slip, because after all, ascension is that path of awakening. It's the path of raising your consciousness, raising your vibration, and saying no to all that kind of doesn't go your way, right? Or that isn't on that higher path. And so I was really fortunate and had, I suppose I should say, I was on bended knees praying for help, and help came. And I heard this voice. It was Halloween night, and I heard a voice saying, Joan, paint 33 angels in 30 days. Now, I want to tell you something. I've been hearing my guides my entire life. And what I know about my guides is they give me 3 times and I'm out, meaning 3 times or they'll forget about it. They'll go on to the next person. And so they said, paint 33 angels in 30 days. And the first thing I said was, I can't paint faces. Then they went again. And I said, well, it's such work, it's going to smell, 30 canvases. This is me talking to my angels. And the third time they said it again, and I knew that they weren't going to say it. Either I said yes, or whatever miracle would be aligned with saying yes, it wouldn't come again. And so I said yes, and I painted those 33 angels. And when I put them up on the loft, and it became an angel loft, obviously, a book fell off the bookshelf. It says, your call for angelic assistance has been heard. Now, I cried, literally cried. And then I said, well, what should I do with all this art? And the only answer I got was, well, it was like, the answer that I got for that was, oh God, it was like, we will come, okay? We will come, So I didn't know what that meant, but yes, soon these large images came, so we will come. And then it was like, to be one of the chosen ones, you must choose. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Ascension, changing your timeline, is that path of consciously changing your thoughts and actions and your intentions and your frequency and your chakras, and aligning it in such perfection that you can actually walk this path, understand the pitfalls of how you could fall, and still live a life of personal power with grace and ease as you ascend in your timeline. It is a conscious choice. Now, how do we make these conscious choices? Well, we make them by understanding that we are being guided by an invisible hand. Okay, we are not being guided by the encyclopedia or by what other people are thinking or by what other people tell you. So they could tell you all they want, what they see for your life, but it's you and what you see for your life. So your timeline is actually learning how to tune in to your guides and your angels, or that voice within, whatever you want to call it, or your departed loved ones, or your star family, or the little people, or the trees, wherever your information comes from. This is between you and your information, you and your guides, you and your higher self in cooperation saying, show me the way, show me this path. Now, years ago, and some of you may have heard me tell the story, but in a plant medicine ceremony, I woke up and there was a group of angels in the corner and they were whispering among themselves and they would go, shh, she's a member of the invisible tribe. We don't want her to wake up. And someone else says, well, she's waking up. All right. And I did. I woke up and I was in a trance state because I was in this ayahuasca mushroom journey. And as I was waking up, I realized that I was in the lowest rank. I was in India. I was one of the untouchables. No one was going to come near me. I was in rags. I had a copper plate, and in it I had a tarot card or 2 tarot cards and a couple of copper coins that people were leaving me. And literally, they were walking over me. I was laying down in the street, and I stand up, and I start running after people with my tin cup, going, don't you know who I am? Now, which is a saying that I've said to many people when I work with them or I meet them and I think I have so much information for them. And then I'm running after them going, well, don't you want to hear this? So I woke up, and what I came to understand was that the lifetime that I woke up from, I had been a very high-ranking Brahmin. I was probably at the end of my spiritual journey. I was about to ascend. I can remember this, but I had an ego. And that was what can get many of us in trouble, because the ego, when we reach and rise to ascension, the path narrows. Your choices narrow. You're not going to run out and drink beer and watch football all the time. You're going to do other things. Your choices go to what is the highest vibration that I can walk on. And so obviously in that lifetime, I had come very close, and the closer you come to ascending, the harder you fall. And so what kinds of things would have made me fall? Well, my ego, or having people pay me for spiritual favors, which is over and over has been done by spiritual teachers who take advantage of their following. So there were many ways, or I could have just had too much pride. I don't know. But I do know that this lifetime, about 20 years ago, I went through the same thing. And I was a very successful chiropractor, extremely successful, one of the top female chiropractors in the field. And I ended up losing everything. I got injured. I went into a bad relationship and I lost everything. And so I fell really big. And maybe it took me 20 years to recover. And so here I am on my hands and knees. It's 2013 and the guides are saying, paint us and we will come. And I said yes. I said yes, even though it took 3 times, because I knew that by saying yes, I would go through my salvation. And that's what I want you to understand. When you start to hear that voice from within, that voice of the divine, that message that's coming through only for you, you have 2 choices. You could say yes, or you can say no. When you say yes, they will give you more. Now, it may feel like responsibility, or it may feel like joy, but it's a bit of both. They'll say yes. So when we say yes, bring me more, they take you and they start helping you layer, start helping you consciously evolve, grow, step up. When you say no, then you miss it, that opportunity. And so in 2016, I had moved to the desert where I was named Joan of Angels now for the art that I did. And I was in the desert and it was just really, really interesting, but I was invited to do something. And I said no, and when you say no, you don't get the goodies. So I went up to the Shakti Fest or the Bhakti Fest and had a reading with this palm reader. And he said, Joan, do you know you were supposed to be famous? And I kind of was crushed. It was like, yeah, I know that. And I started crying literally. And he said, but don't worry, it'll come around again. So yes, your time will come around again. But he did say it won't be the same. It may not even have the same power or the same energy of it. So learning to say yes to your destiny and learning what that is, learning what it's we're learning to say yes to doing your visions and your dreams is really important. That your guides and angels don't force anything on you. And the path, the higher path won't unfold unless you take those steps to do that. So fast forward, I'd like to show you something that happened the other day. So on Friday, I was taken up on Mount Shasta. I'm on a journey of the soul now, and I'm following the messages that I get. And so I was taken up on the mountain, and I had my computer in the car, and I stuffed my computer in the back of my friend's car. I could swear to you I stuffed my computer in the back of the car. In fact, my computer was in this blue polka dot case. Obviously, it's important to me that you know this. So they dropped me off the house, and the next morning I wake up, where's my computer? And, it's in the car, and they can't find it. So I very busily, and I have a fear that things are going to get stolen from me, of course, or get lost. So I work to detach myself. I work to detach myself. And that was Friday. Saturday, I come to the office I'm sitting in now, and I can't find there's no computer here. I do my shows on my cell phone, right? I'm adaptable, right? So by yesterday, I have to admit I'm getting a little depressed. And so I want to show you one way that I raised my vibration. So in 2013, they guided me to paint those 33 angels, and I went on and I continue to paint. When I paint, I'm in direct communion with my guides and with the angels, and it changes my vibrational frequency. And I would say it's the path of ascension. So now I had no computer, and so I had wanted to do a presentation, but I managed to get this little video of the artwork, and I want to show it to you because I think you'll understand what I'm trying to say. We were in this beautiful area. It was actually Saint Germain's, wall, Saint Germain's rock, his little peaceful area. And I'm convinced all these rocks are alive. And we're doing prayer and meditation, and I look up and I see a tree. And the tree looks just like an ascended master to me. And so as I close my eyes and I start diving deep, it's not that I heard anything at first, but my artwork, I took a picture of the tree, of this ascended master, and I want you to see what it became. And then we'll go back to the rest of this discussion. All right, now this is my first time showing a video. So let's see if it'll show. Yes.
I don't know what I expected. It was magnificent with the moon, the light coming through. You could feel the presence of beings everywhere, kind of just off in the corner. I'm sure they were watching us. I could feel it. It was just how to see them, how to pierce the veil so that I could be one with these divine beings, so that I could step through that portal into that magical, mystical forest that was beckoning me. There they were, clear as day. I could feel them beckoning me to step within and to step into my ascension, my highest frequencies. Yes, truly, my friends, the energy was so profound. When I looked around, even the rocks were aglow, little crystalline patterns that called you within their moving structures. All living things moved with glittering frequencies that shook my very being. I had to share them with you so that you too could feel the magic in the air. as the prayer, the divinity, the dive within. We knew who we were. We were one with these divine beings. We had lifetimes with them before, then and now, this life, past life, future lives, as we stepped in, aligning our body, mind, and spirit to accept what we were seeing, to accept that we were now a part of the hidden realms, the inner realms, the land beyond, where it is those magical beings calling to us. Step into your prayers, my friend. Open your eyes. Ask to be guided by the voice within and by the divine beings that beckon you to these sacred places, so you can literally decode them, so that you could see beyond the stone to the crystalline structures within and without. This is how we ascend our timelines. We ask for the divine beings to be with us in every way, shape, and form. We trust in our own divinity, in our own right to ascend those timelines. We trust in the patterns of our history and our ancestry. We
Sweet. So the artwork, literally diving in, it just came through, and each piece that I was creating, I don't even know where it came from. And I could never even go back and reproduce them. But even just looking at, because of what these beings you only could see with your inner eye, and yet by connecting with them, we were able to get them out onto a canvas of sorts and to hear their messages. And so guys, one thing that I have learned and that I really talk about all the time is that we need to really learn to trust those voices. And I talk to people all the time, and it's like, well, I heard a voice that said I should do this, but I ignored it and I didn't listen. So one of the classes that I have, and it's up on Wei Shayla's program, is on your ultimate intuition, your ultimate intuitive guide, because we were all born, well, we all came down with certain gifts. Let's just put it this way. Many of you are volunteers. You came down here for these times. And we didn't come down here unprepared. We came down here with what I like to call as a toolkit or a clipboard with your assignment. But it's all about remembering, allowing yourself to start remembering and allowing yourself to start to trust the messages you are receiving. And so in that class, I have all these processes of tools that teach you how to clarify. How do I hear? How do I see? What are the tools that I use? Because we're all a little bit of clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, there's a one for your smell. I always get that pronunciation. My sister has that gift. But we all have these gifts, and learning how to use it. And also, we come down here in the veil of forgetfulness. We spend a lifetime, hopefully a lot less, remembering who we are, and the rules change when we get down here. So we actually have a huge experience when we come to the planet in learning how to remember, step up, reacquaint ourselves with our gifts and our skills and our tribe, and learn how to discern what doesn't work. So Ascension also requires those tools of discernment, learning how to say yes to what is the highest vibrational frequency for you, and learning to say no to that which no longer serves you or that which is a lower frequency. So that is really important, because because as we said when we started from the very beginning, our personal power comes from trusting our own self, believing in our own self. And how do we build that? We build that by building reliability, like knowing that we can accomplish this, knowing that we finish what we start, like just knowing that that we are trained and well prepared and ready to go. And so self-confidence leads to personal power, which leads to raising your vibration as a result of the things you do, which bring confidence. So it is a cycle, and a cycle of constantly reassessing and moving forward. Or like yesterday, I said to my friends, well, I'm in a little funky mood because although I believe my computer will come back to me, it hasn't. So rather than go into despair and depression, I created that art. I let spirit walk, like go through me like a whoosh, so that I could channel that art. And you'll see that, look for some of those posts over the next few days. I'll actually post some of that art too. But listening to your guides within is a very good thing. So guys, I am an intuitive. I've been an intuitive since the day I was born. I always knew things that everyone else didn't, and suffered from being told that I was crazy or making things up or over hyper imagination, of which I probably have all of the above. But my message to you is the following. I want you all to take a deep breath with me and then let it out. And then as we take another deep breath, I want you to understand something. We have all collectively gone through a turning point in the history of humanity and the history of our planet. And it has been a frosty one. It hasn't been an easy transition. And so as we walk together through this next period of time, and we breathe together and we walk together, let's start to see what we want to see unfolding in the world around us. You know, I want to see people who are healthy. I want to see people who are building up their immune system, who feel like their vitality is better than ever, and their sense of joy and happiness and freedom and independence is growing rapidly. Their sense of, you know what, we thrived over, we managed to survive and even thrive over the last few years, in a sense of, I know who I am now. I know that I can get through almost anything. I know that I love my own company. Listen, I spent 7 years in the desert, very rarely left my house. And I have to laugh because I'm probably my best company. If you call me to go somewhere, I may still think it's more fun to spend that night with myself, is my point. I don't need to run out and be validated by other people anymore. So dive in, guys. And start to say, okay, what have I learned over the last few years? Who am I now? What can I let go of? Like what Sheila said in the very beginning, she dropped Oprah. Okay, now that's a big deal when a speaker like Shariah or Sheila or myself say, you know, I dropped Oprah. So I dropped her from my vision that my success is wrapped up with her, because it's not. It's wrapped up with me and the tribe and the belief I have in myself. Just like it is for you. So hopefully you'll hear what we said and you'll start to think about your timeline. What did you learn the last few years? And what do you really want to see manifest now? Because guys, it's very important to know there's two different agendas being played out, your agenda and society's agenda. So your agenda and my agenda and all of our agenda can be gently wrapped into an agenda or a timeline of ascension, of positive things happening, of higher vibrational frequencies. So I ask that we all hold that together, that we all come together in that way, where we remember that we're here to help shift not only ourselves, but this planet into that higher ascension timeline, into that fifth dimensional frequency and beyond, into the new earth. This is the great awakening, and you are a part of it. What are you going to do with it, guys? Where do you want to take it? So I'm Joan of Angels. I'm here as a guide. I help people remember who they are, why they're here, what their purpose is, and also how to let go of those challenges. Because as what I've learned as an angelic frequency is, you cannot take your luggage to heaven, nor can you take this computer. So though the bottom line is, I'm so grateful it somehow reappeared magically, I still know that we have to drop it all in order as we continue to ascend. So guys, thank you very, very much. I adore you all. And I look forward to meeting you, working with you, and just excited that you're all here with me. So.
Yay, Joan. That was so good. I loved your video presentation too. And just even the sound of your voice and the tone, I could feel the spirits, in the realm of the unseen that you were describing. That was really beautiful. Your whole presentation was amazing. I enjoyed just that journey that you took us on. You're a wonderful storyteller. And I felt like I really do feel like I just went on a journey with you. Thank you for everything that you shared.
We're in on that ascension path. Thank you. When I dived in last night, see, now here's the thing. I really wasn't happy last night, just to admit it. Okay. I wasn't happy. And I knew I had two choices. I could either go down into this horrible pit, or I could actually dive into what I love to do. And I somehow knew that if I dived into this art, and I would begin to hear the messages and would change my whole frequency. And it did. And I think that's the lesson, to go where you're going to be lifted. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's beautiful that you're modeling that for everybody. And it was really interesting that the life you had as a Brahmin, and that you remembered that so clearly. And that really is the work. I've been framing it these days under the 7 deadly sins, which, for lack of a better word of framing it, like sin basically just means missing the mark. But there's these 7 generally known attributes that will get us in trouble if we're not watchful of how our ego is showing up. And it wasn't because that it's bad and wrong to do this, that, or the other thing. It's the realization of consequences of our choices. And so if we go boldly down a track where our pride and turns to arrogance and superiority, and then we get out of whack with people, then that is going to repercuss into our own life with that kickback of suffering. And so at the end of the day, the self-reflection and the choices to keep honing the tempering the sword and do what you said of like letting it be okay that the choices start narrowing. It's because that's the straight and narrow path is the one that gets you through the gate. It's like it's a straight and narrow path, and that becomes not tortuous. It becomes not a punishment. It becomes not something imposed from without. It becomes a choice that we each make through our own self-awareness. And so it's a gift and it's a blessing as we get cultivated, as we cultivate ourselves, as we allow, as we surrender, as we humble ourselves. So I just thought it was beautiful that you were boldly sharing about those intricate parts of our journey here.
They are anchored in, to be a leader requires personal power, and it requires a sense of humbleness, but leadership. And so it's a fine art form. And so in my success as a chiropractor, there was a time, and I understand why the psychic said to me, you blew it, because my ego got in the way. I thought that made me better than anyone else. And I say this because I still work through those lessons of how to be a leader, because I am clearly a leader. I can't hide that anymore from myself, but without the ego to do that. And with the humbleness of that too, because, to be a leader means you serve. You serve a lot. You're going to work harder. So, but it's wrapped up in being able to be personally empowered too. And I know Shayla knows all about that as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And on the note of the sins, I love that you brought that in, Shariah. I can think of sins, I think of them as distortions, the distortions that will come back at you. It's like the arrows that you throw out, turn around and come back and pierce you. And all of the sins that are considered deadly sins are really personally deadly. And they distort the field and eventually cause illness. So yeah, anybody that walks the walk is going to have to go through those hurdles and get through those distortions in order to hold the light. And otherwise, it will destroy you. And as we've seen, so many leaders become distorted from their ego issues or whatever it is that causes that.
That is a good, accurate reflection. I've seen it particularly in spiritual teachers, and I want to address that for a minute. When I was 23 or 25, I came to Los Angeles and moved into a spiritual community. And it's a big spiritual community. I was very excited. It's like just that I had moved into a spiritual community. However, it turned out that this particular spiritual teacher, and it came out years later, that he was abusing his staff. He was using drugs with them and insisting that they have sex with him, not out of their own free choice, but because that was the only way to get to heaven, period. And, it's violating. So beware of those who are violating those spiritual ethics. Now, fortunately, I saw it and I left, but you know what? It's still hard to even see these things and to leave there's a violation that happens, but there's an awareness that has to happen, even among light workers. Are we, each and every one of us, holding to our commitment of ascension and to be personally clear and transparent and honest and above board? So we really do have to look at our own self and discern who we can trust and who we can't.
To let it be okay that we're in this process. Like, again, it takes enough humility to even be willing to self-reflect and to continue to refine. And then when we look out on the world stage, we can see how beings who became so grossly materialistic and striving for their own self-gratification, have taken great advantage of others. And it's like the demonstration of the extreme. We see some demonstrations on the world scene of the extremes of those distortions. And so part of why we're admonished lovingly by Spirit to track that within ourselves is so that, it's like that idea of the trim tab that Buckminster Fuller talks about. It's like on a boat, there's rudders that keep you guiding generally, but then there's this little trim tab that you can put off the rudder to just do a slight adjustment. But if you're just even that much off, you think you're going to this destination, but if that little trim tab is off, you are going like someplace completely different. So it's enlightened self-interest of the highest and wisdom to continue to be humble enough to track ourselves, to self-reflect, to self-correct, and to do that inner work that helps us keep the equanimity to be aware, to do our spiritual practice that helps us stay aware every day, whatever that is for each of us.
Yeah. A daily commitment. And I think you nailed it there, Shariah, in that it's a daily choice. Every day we get to choose how we serve. And are we going to allow, the world to throw us out of balance, our ego to get unchecked, anger, jealousy, rage, whatever all those sins are, are we going to let those infiltrate our peace and our being? And that's why that daily work of meditation and tuning in and breath work and connection to the divine is the thing that brings us back to harmony and balance every single day.
Right on. It's true. It's a moment by moment by moment. We can be going up like this, and then boom. Like an alcoholic, my dear friend Brian, he'd been clean and sober for 5 or 6 years. And then one day he had a lot of money and it was like, huh. And that was it. He never woke up again. So it could just be, and you know, he had risen so high in his sobriety, and so it could happen in a second. So eternal vigilance, we were born for this, and the only way through, the only way out of the planet, you know, the only way up is through it, truly.
Like you said, one step at a time. Sometimes that's all we got, especially at times when information is so confusing and confused, like the Tower of Babel, kind of like, we don't know what's up, what's down. Sometimes if you start trying to figure out what's going on in the world, some of us like Rochelle just are like, no, thank you, I don't want to hear it.
Right?
But then, you know, it's a lot to navigate. And but the way we do it is one foot in front of the other, day by day, and with our connection to spirit and our commitment and our willingness to do the best to temper the sword and hone, like pressurize the diamond, and letting discipline not be a bad word. Like when we discipline ourselves out of our own choice to do what's right, as opposed to what we maybe from our ego want to do, and things like that, from a moment to moment basis, when we choose to discipline ourselves from within, and when we choose to make the higher choice from within, that's self-governance, you know. And to me, like, what is it like when there's a world of people who all have that connection within and are governing themselves? This is a higher order that I feel like we did have in what you might call the golden ages, and we're returning back there again. But we return there out of experience and the awareness of our experience by our own free will choosing. So it feels like we really are at that juncture, and it's just been an honor and a pleasure to discuss these very high ideals with you ladies today.
It's been great. It's been great. I love both of you. I love your consciousness. I love how, you know, I came on today and just being with both of you, I felt so much better. You know, you just shifted my energy, my frequency immediately, and probably for everyone else too.
Thank you. Thanks. It's the dynamic trinity here. I think everyone tuning in certainly helped shift the energy. And so I want to say thank you to everyone watching now and in the future. Thanks for joining us and being a part of this conversation.
I know. I want to thank Portal to Ascension and Neil Garr for his, you know, this is a vision, his vision being unfolded. So here we are today, and I really appreciate that. Neil, you're doing a great job. And then there's Shariah. I love how you've been hosting this, Shariah. Great job, love.
Thank you so much. Well, it's our first show. It's actually the second show of the season. There's more coming up. You can join the list on ptashow.com to be informed and know that all is well. As here we go. From here forward, may all beings be blessed and further awakened into that highest awareness, and may we all have all that we need to move forward into our highest timeline. Thank you.
And so it is.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you all for being with us. We'll see you all next time.
Much love and many blessings.